and thank furlough, it's Friday yet again. I'm afraid I'm coming to you not from my car this week, but I wonder if anybody of you got any ideas. So there we are, Fridays. It's always Fridays here. It feels a bit like that, doesn't it, really? Anybody, any ideas where I might be today? Well, I'll give you a clue. It's bang in the middle of London. It's where all the theatres are when they were open. And we're back. So, hello, this is me, hidden this time by my my hard hat and everything else, because what I've been doing today is looking at a complete building site, because there's an organisation here that wants us to run next year's live conference, believe it or not, here in London. And if you have a look behind me, you can hear the noise, but that big blue building there, it's a brand new conference centre new to London, and they're trying to convince us that this is where we should be running conference. So we'll see how that goes. As always, very pleased to have with us the inimitable Jacquie Mount, who is back somewhere a little bit more sane than this and not getting strange looks from passers-by. But she is dipping in and out of television, because I gather the Chancellor is about to make some sort of statement about COVID, is it 3 or 4 or whatever. So I'm going to hand you straight over to Jacquie, and then I'm going to nip down and meet up with my colleagues who are also here. And so Jacquie, over to you.
Thank you, Gary. Looks like you've got a bit of rain over there as well, but anyway, keeping dry. Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Lovely to be back with you. As Gary said, the Chancellor is due to make an announcement this afternoon, and the only information I can get on timing is that it is sometime after 2 p.m. So it may be during this webinar, or it may be later, but we'll certainly get some information out to you as soon as possible. As most of you are aware, the government is talking, well, there are already lots of local lockdowns, and as they introduce what looks like going to be a 3-tier system, with maybe the top tier 3 going into possible complete local lockdown. The Chancellor, I think, is about to announce some form of local furlough scheme. Now, the only thing I can pick up from various newsletters and online stuff is that they're going to pay about 2/3 of wages on a local furlough scheme. So just as we all thought it was safe to go back into the water as far as payroll was concerned, and we're coming to the end of CJRS2, and we're going into job support scheme and job retention and the job bonus scheme.
So
now we
fine. I'll put my camera on.
Local lockdown.
Thank you very much.
And sorry, I think we're getting some feedback from Gary there. So we wait to see. And as I said, I've got the BBC News. So if anybody hears anything before me, please pop a note up in the chat or the questions and answer, and we'll pick it up and we'll try and run with it. Apart from that, just a few things have come out this week. The HMRC announced this week that for self-assessment payments, if you remember, we spoke about there's been no payment on account that needed to be paid this year, and the balance was due to be paid by January, and they've extended that for a year, so you can apply on the time to pay for a period of up to 12 months, paying on a monthly basis. Now, this week, the amount that you can put on time to pay has gone up from £10,000 tax to £30,000. So that's a big increase. That's triple the size. What you will need to do is you will need to set up a direct debit to pay this in 12 equal instalments. It's available from the 1st of October. You do have to apply for it. You can, the rules are that you mustn't have any other tax debts, no outstanding tax returns, so everything has to be up to date, everything has to be clean. You can just apply, and you can set this up no later than 60 days after the due date of the debt. Now, the due date of the debt for the 2020 tax payments is obviously the 31st of January 21, so you have 60 days after that in which to set up your direct debit and apply for it. If your tax bill that's due is over £30,000, you can't do that online. Up to 30,000, you can do it online. You don't have to ring them, you don't have to speak to them. But if it's over £30,000, you need to ring the HMRC helpline to discuss arrangements over a longer period than 12 months, if that's what you want to do. There has been some information coming out for anyone who is involved in car benefit scheme, where people have been in lockdown and perhaps haven't been able to use the company car. They've now issued or cleared up the rules and regulations for not not having the benefit applied to you. And that means that you must not be able to drive your car or the business car. Now, how they've defined that is that you have to have, say, returned the keys. You may not have been able to return the car to your employer, but you have to have returned them the keys so that you can't actually drive the car. And that and a few other little bits means that the benefit for the car benefit is no longer going to be relevant to you until such time as you can make arrangements for the car to go back. The only other thing I've got so far is the reminder of the job bonus scheme. Now, that is going to run alongside and in conjunction with the job support scheme. The rules for that one, remember, you can claim up to £1,000 per employee, that you have to keep them employed until the 31st of January. You have to have made at least one claim under CJRS, either 1 or 2. So there has to have been a claim for them that they've been part furloughed. They're kept in place till the 31st of January. And they have to have been paid over a 3-month period from the 6th of November, which is the start of the November 6th to the 5th of December. And then from December and also up to the 5th of February. And then once those 3 payments have been made, there has to be a minimum of £1,560 across the 3 payments. You have to have submitted your FPS under the RTI, and you must not have issued or started to discuss any redundancy payment before the end of that period. And you can make your claims for that bonus between the 15th of February and the 31st of March. So that's after everything has been submitted. That's all the information that I've got from HMRC this week. We did have a couple of questions came out of last week's, one of which was Maggie was asking under the job support scheme about commissions. Now, I've done a bit more research into this, and they have stated in the details that are out so far is that the amount of pay that you're using to claim the job support scheme, if you're not on a standard hourly rate, is exactly the same as the calculations you made under CJRS. So if your CJRS furlough claims included commission, then you can take that amount and then you prorata it per week, depending on the number of hours that they worked. And then you split that between a third, and a third. So the employer pays a third, the government will pay a third, and the employee has to bear the other missing third, and that's the pay cut that they will take. The other queries that came out on things like directors, I think Faye put up a query about what happens to sole directors. I still don't have an answer for that. So that's all the answers I've been able to get from last week. So not too much come out this week, considering it's been quite a busy week, but we're still waiting for the final detail on the job support scheme. So looks like Gary's back.
Time now, is that right? Is due around now?
Yeah.
The latest.
Yeah, from 2 o'clock. So I haven't got anything up yet, so I shall keep looking. And as I said, if anybody picks it up before me, then just please bump a message up in either the question answer or the chat, and we will pick it up and try and run with that as we go.
One message so far from Susanna Whelan, just saying it looked like Leicester Square. Yeah, it was indeed Leicester Square. The Radisson that we were at last year for our conference. The same organisation, Radisson Blue, they're building a brand new conference centre on Leicester Square. They've already dug down 2 floors, and they've gone up, I think it's 8, and they've created the largest conference centre in the centre of London. And so they were showing us around. Actually, all we can see really is building work and lots of scaffolding and various other things. So it didn't really give us that much of an idea, but it's obviously going to be great. We're obviously talking about prices because we know that you are keen on us not to want you to spend too much of your money to come to our conference, much as you love us and it. So we're working on that, and we have got another hotel as well, just on the outskirts of London, which we like very, very much. In fact, we nearly went to it a couple of years back, but then got an offer we couldn't refuse from the Radisson Blu. Unfortunately, Radisson Blu now is too small for us, and particularly next year, with it being our 25th anniversary, we've got a lot of people from around the world saying that they're going to come over and they want to be part of it. So we're going to need somewhere a little bigger. So that's what we're working on at the moment. Meanwhile, this year's conference, the virtual summit, as we're calling it, is going absolutely brilliantly. We're about to go through the first 500 tickets. We should do that later today, and those of you who want to take advantage of the extra discount, I think we said it was for the first 500 tickets, that's the thing to do. Now, since we put up the information, we've got even more speakers lined up. We've now got the head of COVID for HMRC, and I know we've got, I don't know her name, but she's one of the top people who advises government and has been sorting things out. And I'm saying that loudly so that I hope somebody will scurry in a minute and give me all the details, because it's not what I'm doing. I was on the Labour Party conference meeting the week before last, and then again on the Conservative Party meetings this week. On the periphery of that, and on the various side meetings, I was talking about bookkeepers, obviously, and what an important part we've played. Everybody seems very keen to support us and show how much they appreciate what we've done. At the moment, we've got a couple of Labour people signed up, ready to come on. I won't release their names at the moment. That's not because I can't remember them, but I just want to make sure that it's all done and dusted before we do that. And I understand we'll probably also get a couple of very high-ranking Conservative politicians on here. And obviously, for those of you who follow the Greens or whoever, everybody will be invited to say their bit. Now, the good thing is, if you're not into politics at all, because it's a virtual conference, you can just skip that bit and move that to one side. But those of you who've already booked your seats, brilliant. Thank you very much. Look forward to meeting you. I shall be there, obviously, nipping in and out. And again, if you don't want to listen to me, you can just switch me off and go and listen to Jacquie or something. But we've got some quite high-profile speakers on there. Juliette May, for example. Now, she works on Sky. She's one of their anchors on the business program, and I've seen her on that program. She's pretty fantastic, and it just so happens that we know her maybe through her husband. Those of you who remember the Luca Awards, I think 2 years back now, we announced the award in the name of Alan Cleverly, who had been running the small business unit. We've been very close with him, and he unfortunately passed away. And he and John, I think, were actually brought up in the same orphanage or something like that, and they were very close. And I know it was a big loss to all of us when Alan passed away. But John came on and he made the presentation. So he made a comment about being happy to turn up to my funeral, if those of you who remember that. I think he meant it lightheartedly. And anyway, so his wife, Juliette, is a very, very popular presenter, and she's coming on, and she's going to be talking about all sorts of things. We had an idea that she would interview some of the politicians for us, but she's sort of done a lot of research into the ICB, and particularly you as the members, and she's very much into the empowerment of women and something called the imposter syndrome, which I must admit I hadn't heard about before, but that's those people who get to a position and then think, oh dear, they panic because they don't think they're good enough to actually have got as far as they have. Ring any bells for anybody? I do spend, Jackie's nodding, I do spend a lot of conference normally telling you, you are absolutely wonderful at the job that you do. And I'm sure you go away believing me, and within 48 hours, some of you have forgotten that. So it's good. There's got to be a lot of talk. Obviously a lot of talk, but a lot of talk about all sorts of things. So I'm hoping that's great. Now, I apologise for the bleached out head here. As I said, we have been looking around this new venue. Everybody else is in the room next door trying to figure out costs and prices and what we can fit into where. And the manager has very kindly allowed me to use another room here so that we don't get constantly interrupted by them. And yeah, it's got this in-ceiling lighting, so you know it feels extremely warm, and obviously bleaching me out a bit. My hair isn't quite as receded as it looks, but nonetheless.
Oh, it's not a halo then, Garry?
No, I don't. I think the days of halo have gone, if there ever were any. But we're getting we've got a few things coming in. We've got one on the chat line now. 59 early bird tickets left. So there we are. That's it then.
Okay.
To be honest with you, a lot of people didn't even go for the discount because they said, no, I don't need a discount. It's good value for money. And so great. Thank you very much for those. So that's left a few more open for other people.
Okay, can I pick up on just a quick couple of technical questions come in? Maggie is back. Hi, Maggie. Is the bonus only payable for flexible furlough staff, or if they were fully furloughed in, say, April or May? They have to have had one Corona CJRS claim, so it doesn't matter, I think, whether it was under CJRS 1 or CJRS 2. So I think either of those, as long as they have appeared on a furlough claim and then they're kept on to the 31st of January and they're paid, the rest of it falls, you can claim the bonus for them. And Carol's come back. This is, Garry, this is probably one for you, certainly not me. Carol Gibson, not payroll related, but for anti-money laundering, is a local councillor considered a PEP? Sorry, I've dived into the middle of your lunch there, Garry.
That's all right. This is my lunch for those of you. I've just been handed this because I normally get a bit angry. What do they call it? Mangry, isn't it? Something other men get angry when they're hungry, something like that. So yeah, I get a bit weird at about lunchtime. Anyway, Carol, yeah, it's a good point. They are PEPs. They're obviously minor PEPs because unless they're also related to Idi Amin or somebody or other. And really, all you need to be careful of is if they're on something like, say, the planning committee, that they're not in a position where they can accept bribes to let some planning go through and that sort of stuff. I think you just have to be careful. I mean, most of it will come about if you are doing their self-assessment tax. You need to make sure you see all of their bank accounts and all this sort of stuff. But treat them as a PEP. Now, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them at all. As I always say to people, if you make somebody high risk, it's just a sort of a bookmark for you to make sure that you take that extra care and look at it a little bit differently. So yes, certainly treat them as a PEP. And the other thing is that sometimes as counsellors, they can get a little bit above themselves. And it happens a lot with celebrities, actually. I know a very particular celebrity who unfortunately passed away recently, but he lived next door to some friends of mine. And they went out with him for dinner one night, and my friend said, "Oh, we'll pay for this." He said, "No. He said, I don't pay when I eat out." And he expected to get free meals because he was a celebrity. But the important thing was, at the end of the meal, he asked for the bill, which was given to him. And he took it home with him and presumably claimed for it on his accounts. But anyway, so you do need to be careful with people. I didn't realise celebrities got away with quite so much. Nobody's ever given me a free meal, but then that says a lot. Anyway.
Okay, one from Lynn. A question about an employer paying a working from home allowance to staff. So where you've got your staff working from home, there is a £6 a week allowance for that. And Lynn is asking if it is paid as additional pay and not deduct tax or NI. I think all benefits accruing under COVID-19 are tax-free, including the supply of computer equipment or something. If you have to buy that, that's tax-free for them. They don't get charged on that. And I have a funny feeling that at the end, there's no NI payable on it either. I will try and get an answer to you over the next few minutes, but I'm pretty certain that that is tax and NI free on that one. Only during COVID period. Yeah,
I think because we're doing that for all our team as well. And
yeah, I knew it was for tax, and I think it is NI. So there are no benefits accrued from working from home during the period of COVID-19. Once that's finished, then obviously we revert back to normal. But at the moment, yeah, I agree. It's tax and NI free. Still nothing from the Chancellor. He's not up yet.
Okay, good. I don't think there's a great deal else that I have to say as far as the Institute is concerned. Everything at the moment seems to be centred upon the virtual conference. There's also a virtual Luca Awards evening. Now, I'm not being told how that's going to work at the moment. I'm told it's going to be great fun, and I'm going to get a presentation next week, so I'm hoping it's as much fun as they think it is, because I love my Luca's nights, and I know there are a lot of people out there that want to win a Luca. Now, if you want to get your applications in now, you can find the application process on the website. Just think about it. Winning a Luca makes a huge difference. You know, it's great. And even if you're only nominated, it's a bit like being nominated for an Oscar. You know, some of the biggest actors of all time only were nominated rather than ever won an Oscar. So, you know, having that, you can put that up on your website and on your letterheads and everything else, nominated however many times, etc. But the evening itself will be different, obviously. I'm hoping we make a better stab at it than the BAFTAs did, because that brought me to tears. But nonetheless, let's get your applications in, and if you want to start talking to people, see if they'll nominate you, then yeah, absolutely get some more support there. But I would suggest that you put a lot of effort into it, because although it's virtual, the applications are not virtual. We expect a lot from people. Just tell us all about you, your business, what you do, or the way that you've studied. If you want to go for the best student of the year, talk to your training provider, talk to your suppliers or whoever. Give us a rounded picture of you. What we don't want is half a sheet of paper saying, this is my life and I'm fantastic and wonderful, because I've got thousands of those. What we want to do is pick out the special people for an award. Now, we can't pick out all of the special people, because actually following COVID, you are of course all very special people, but yeah, there's some people like to put themselves forward for awards, so let's do that. And I know there's probably a certain training provider based somewhere in the West Midlands who's hoping to add, I think, number 10 to his list for best training provider. Well, we'll see how that goes. I have to say that all the training providers at the moment are going doing really big things. I mean, the number of people taking exams has gone up by something like 140% this year. So that's fantastic, and it's helping people, I think, get through COVID, and a lot of people lining up even more services that they can provide once we come out of COVID. So if you're one of those that's already been successful, or you're already learning, well done you, you know, great. It's what it's all about. You have to, in every cloud, we have to find the silver lining, even if it is a bit tough at times. Jackie, you look as if you're ready to go with something.
No, I was just going to pick up one question there for you. Marie's come on and said, when do the Luca applications close, please? I don't have the date. I'm sure you do, Garry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, your confidence in me is misplaced. I don't know. I will find out. We will find
out. Somebody online will, or listening in, will tell us. Couple of follow-up questions on the tax-free working from home. Usha has asked, if an employer is not paying the allowance, can an employee ask for this? Well, the employee can always ask for that. Whether they get it or not, of course, it is a different matter. And then Janet has come in. Good afternoon, Janet. Hi. If the employer cannot afford to pay the 6-week working from home, can the employee reclaim anything from HMRC at all? And if so, when should they claim it? I thought I had heard they should make a claim at the end of the period of working from home, but obviously it's going to take longer than anyone anticipated. Well, for both of those, if you're not being paid, yes, you probably can claim it. You won't get the full £6 a week back. You will get a tax allowance on it. So you will actually apply for that. Now, if you're fully employed, you just need to find out how to apply for a tax rebate on that and how to claim it. And what will happen is the amount that you're claiming will be taken off of your total income, and then your income tax will be adjusted, and you could either have your tax codes changed maybe at some stage to reclaim that, or they will send you a refund. Hopefully you will get a refund on your actual tax paid. Oh, Kirsty's just come up. Oh, Kirsty, we do love you. Kirsty's actually come up and said she thinks the website says the deadline date for Luca applications is the 20th of October. So you can always rely on our branch chairs.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, it just flashed up on the screen here, so I think that must be our anchor.
It's come from our members from our team as well.
That's brilliant. They listen in as well, just to see what I commit them to.
Yeah. So that's that one done. I'm just ticking off the ones that we've done.
So if anybody's got any questions at all, I mean, we're quite happy to answer. They don't have to be specific furlough questions. And as I said, we've got to come up with a different meaning of the F, or we're going to do something different if we're going to carry on like this. But I thought it was quite nice to have Fridays next door with the neon lights to start off. It's a bit different. We do try and make things different, or in some cases we try and cope with things being different and make it look as if we're doing it properly. But anyway.
There's one on the chat line. Kerry's come back. A question about a flexi furloughed. Oh, well, I have to think about this one, Kerry. A question about a flexi furloughed employee being previously furloughed prior to the June the 10th deadline. But unfortunately, the number of furloughed employees was greater in September than any month prior to July. The client will not reclaim furlough pay for one employee, and they have accepted that. My question is, should the employee be topping up to 100%? They were paid according to the Flexi Furlough rules for the hours worked and unworked. Are you talking about flexible furloughing, or are you talking about job support scheme, Kerry? Could you just pop that up, because that might change the answer I need to think about. The number of furloughed employees was greater in September than in any month prior to July. Presumably that's because some of your employees would have gone from full-time furlough to and they're all on part-time furlough to allow them all back to work at part-time. That might be an answer. Let me think about that one. If you've got any other information, Kerry, please pop it up and I'll see if I can come up with an answer.
If I could just mention that next week we have our latest advisory council meeting that takes place on Wednesday. They won't be coming on and doing TV afterwards because because of various restrictions that some of them have on time. They're going to run it a little bit later, but we will bring them on at some future date. Now, there are some vacancies on council. If you'd like to put your name forward, I think the best thing to do first of all is just give the office a call and I'll have a chat with you or something like that. We are welcoming one new member on Wednesday. Actually, that's Suzanne Proctor from Aberdeen. Congratulations, Suzanne. You've been co-opted onto council to represent, at the moment, the whole of Scotland by yourself. We are looking for others up in Scotland as well. We've also got some vacancies on the northwest of the country. We've lost a couple of people who haven't got the time to come on to our Zoom meetings at the moment, and they're busy doing other things. So if you are from the northwest, so that's Shropshire, Staffordshire, up through Cheshire, Lancashire, Cumbria, that sort of way, anybody up there at all, if you're interested in being one of our advisory council members, it doesn't take a lot of time. We have 4 meetings a year, a few papers to read beforehand. And at the moment, obviously, everything is Zoom, so you don't even have to travel very far. But normally, we have meetings in London, give you your expenses for the day, and you get to contribute at a very, very close level to what the executive of ICB does and what the board do, etc. So if any of you feel that way inclined, by all means, give me a call and I'll have a chat. We'll put you on the line and see how that goes.
And a couple of comments. Alison's come back and said, yes, if the employer doesn't pay the £6, you can claim tax relief simply online via HMRC. So there will be a method of doing that, presumably through the personal tax account, I would think. And there is a way of applying back for the tax. So thank you for that, Alison. And Kerry's come back and say, oh, her query is on to do with flexible furloughing. Now, if you have someone for whom you can't claim the flexible furlough, I think you're going to have to sort of agree with them what hours they're going to work and what they're going to be paid. And I think if you can't claim anything back from them, I think it's going to be an individual agreement with the employee, I would think, as to how many hours they're going to work and what you're actually going to pay them. And that might be something you have to agree with them. And obviously, if you've got someone who is being flexibly furloughed, and are being paid part-time, and you have someone who maybe is not working, then you could have some issues about what you're going to pay them and what you're going to pay the rest of your staff. So anything like that is extremely complex and needs very careful thinking out, because you could possibly be falling foul of HR rules for employing people. So I don't think I can give any more definite answer on that one, Kerry, sorry. If you need any more information, specific information, if you want to pop us an email across to member services, I'll try and pick that up next week, and we can look and see if we can come up with any more details for you. Okay.
Big congratulations to Lucy Brown. Lucy had an AML inspection recently, came out with flying colours. I know she was very worried about that, but she's a council member, and she's also just chairing one of our new boards, the sanctions review board. So it's a good job that she wasn't having to review her own sanctions. But anyway, so that's done well, really well done. And I know that she and Kirsty actually inspected each other's practices to see how they were looking and to make sure they got it right. So I'm sure that if anybody's interested how they did that, we can get Lucy perhaps to tell people how it all worked, but it was a useful exercise. And as it turns out, it obviously worked very, very well, because she's just gone through with the flying colours. Contrary to what I'm saying quite often, you know, there are people out there that are doing it properly. It is very simple, it's very methodical, but it is very necessary. And as bookkeepers, it's the sort of work you should relish, really, because you know, you like your boxes ticked and everything else, and that's all it's really about. And I think that the only problems that we ever get are when people think, oh, well, wait a minute, I'm a bit too busy, I'm going to do some work for my clients, or I'm going to get my new client first, and I'll worry about the due diligence later, and then that never gets done, and it gets put off and put off and put off, and then we come knocking on the door one day, and you know, we did one recently where I said, well, I've got two recent clients, and she said, oh yes, actually they were 2018. Well, that isn't recent in money laundering terms, and the reason that it actually came about was because she hadn't done a due diligence. She missed the fact that one of them, one of the businesses, wasn't being run properly, and so we're working with her at the moment to try and sort that out. So, you know, we're not ogres here, but we do expect you all to have very high standards. It's not actually just money laundering, it's the way you deal with your clients, it's not keeping your clients in the lurch, it's talking to them on a regular basis, and really doing all the things that bookkeepers do well. And I always say accountants don't do very well, and I get shouted at them by all our members who are accountants and bookkeepers, but I'm stereotyping it, I'm afraid. But generally speaking, bookkeepers are in great demand. And please don't forget, we've got the conference coming up, which is obviously on the 17th and 18th of November. That's the middle of Global Bookkeeping Week, which is the 16th to the 20th. That's the Monday to Friday. And during that period, we'll be having meetings with our members from all around the world. They'll be available on Zoom. So if you want to have your first conversation with somebody from Australia or Africa or wherever, you know, that might that's something that will now be possible. But on the Wednesday is the very important day, even more important than all the others, because that's Raise a Cup Day, and that's the day where we raise a cup to say cheers. Well done, bookkeepers. The work you've done during COVID to help out your clients has been fantastic. It's been a shoulder to lean on. It's been a help. It's been a guide. You know, you've befriended these clients who are suddenly in a panic, and you've really helped a lot out. And, you know, I have to be realistic and say there are some clients that at the moment have gone into either hibernation or gone completely. And, you know, that's nearly 2,000 clients. But on the reverse of that, our members, and I haven't had the latest figure, but at the end of June, our members had already picked up just over 10,000 new clients since COVID started. So there is a lot of business out there, a lot of people who are valuing the help that they can get from a good bookkeeper. So long may that continue. And nobody say it's going to get any easier. In fact, it might even get tougher still over the next couple of months. And you're going to become, you know, their real best friend in this. Anything from our Chancellor yet, Jackie?
No, nothing. I'm just looking. It's still waiting to say something. So you can guarantee that it's going to happen about 10 minutes after we close down. But if that's the case, we might be able to come on earlier next week, Garry, and just do an update at some stage.
Yeah, always. It might be that, you know, people who are on now, having not realised it was on, will now think, oh, that's great. As soon as this is finished, I'll nip on to. It's on BBC One, I presume.
I don't know, but I've got the BBC News, I've got BBC Parliament, and I've got BBC One going at the moment on various different screens. So one of those should catch him.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still don't. It just said after 2 p.m. So it's more likely to be around about 3 or 4 o'clock, I would think.
Yeah, he's probably sitting there tweaking the last few things. And,
yeah, absolutely. So I will keep an eye open for that. So I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that's cropped up recently that we have.
I've got a question here from somebody saying, what categories are there for Lucas? If you have a look at the website, it will give you the full list, but there's everything there from Student of the Year to Best Employer of the Year, where you can nominate your employer. Employee of the Year, we've got big training provider, small training provider, all sorts of things like that. You know, there's a lot in there. Best practice of the year, best large practice, best small practice. So, you know, we're trying to give quite a spread, but without ending up with far too many awards, and it takes over an entire day or something. I think we normally give away about 22. And as I say, it will be done differently this year. Obviously, we can't all go out and you know, get our knees up and have a dance and a drink and have a really good evening and really make a big thing of our Lucas. But we will be doing something special for the Lucas. I'm just not quite sure what it is yet. So I understand that people are still, as we're speaking, buying tickets to conference. So that's very, very good. That's going to be great. And if you once you log into all of this, there are chat rooms where you can go and talk to people from your own area, or there are rooms where you can go and talk to some other people that perhaps use the same software as you. You can go and talk to people who might want to tell you what they think is the best piece of software or best cash flow software or whatever it might be. And all of our sponsors, and you know, our big sponsor this year is Xero, which is absolutely fantastic because we've worked with Xero almost since day one, and we're trying to figure out whether Garry Turner has actually been to every single conference we've done. We're looking back at the old pictures. I think he was at the first conference but didn't speak, but was then at the second and subsequent conferences. He always goes down very well on stage, so he will be with us again this year. So they're our big sponsors, but we've also got Sage. I mean, we would be nowhere without Sage. That's where we all started. We've got Intuit. Intuit are great. They sort of went quiet for a few years, but they're back with a vengeance now. And I know a lot of you are getting clients that are using Intuit for the first time. So that's good as well. So great on that. And then we've got people like Fluidly, Futurely. Who else have we got? I'm trying to think. Anybody else do you know of, Jacquie?
The various tax people.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll have some tax software there and everything else. I'm waiting to give me a list on screen somewhere because I've just come straight off the building site. In fact, I'm sitting literally about 10 yards from the building site, and they've allowed me to take my hat off so that I can talk to you and my mask. So I haven't had a chance just to see the latest list on there. Free Agent, that's another one. Free Agent working very closely with ICB members nowadays, getting some good reports as well, actually. I think generally speaking, our members do like their software packages. They have the occasional niggle when something doesn't work right, but then again, you know, that's the nature of bookkeepers. You know, they like things to work smoothly. So that's good. And if any of you do have any feedback on a piece of software that you're using that you like, just drop us a line, because, you know, that's good for us to go to them and say, oh, we've had a good feedback about your piece of software. This is what our members like. So tell us what it is you like. If there's anything you're not quite sure about and you don't like, let us know that as well, because we can go to some of the providers and say, have you ever thought of adding this little bit on that or taking that off that, you know, and then it works. I can see your face lighting up and then going dark. So there's obviously a lot going on these screens of yours, Jackie, but not rushy.
No, not rushy. I was just going to pick up a couple of things, a couple of questions from 2 weeks ago that I've been trying to find out answers for. A couple of questions on the Pay As You Grow scheme. Remember, this is the bounce back loans and the business interruption loans have been transferred over to a Pay As You Grow loan, where the extensions have gone, the loan period has gone from 6 years to 10 years to reduce the amount of payments. And we had some questions about who can apply, because you have to have shown that your income has been affected, and obviously that's why you applied for the loan. If anybody's got any more information or has looked into that, perhaps they've got clients who have applied for that and you've been looking into it, then I'd be interested in any answers for that one. And we also had a query 2 weeks ago about the job support scheme for zero workers. Now, this is linked in with the question from last week from Maggie about commission. The normal weekly wage, if you're on one of those flexible contracts, is being taken to be the same weekly wage that you worked out under the CJRS. So the same thing will apply to zero workers, and you're going to have to look at the average number of hours worked in the week, or work out exactly what their average income is, and then decide based on that how many hours they're going to work and what percentage of their normal working week are 0 hours employees working, and then claim for the third and so on from that. So I think the only one I'm still waiting for to get any ideas on at all are directors. We did talk last week about directors and the employer's allowance, and a couple of members have been asking me, and I know Kirsty came back, I think, with some interesting information about if you have a director who has to unfortunately make their employees redundant and they are now the sole director, what happens to them as far as the employer's allowance is concerned. And the HMRC have said that you can still claim for this year up to the 4,000, but you obviously cannot claim again from the 6th of April for the new tax year if you then don't have any employees and you are ineligible to claim the grant, but you can carry on this year. As far as the various job support schemes, still not sure what's going to happen with sole directors and what they can claim, because how do you know how many hours they're working? So if anybody's, again, if anybody's in that situation with clients, or even in that, probably not yourselves, because I know you're all working really hard and full time, but anyone that's got any clients in that situation, if you've been through this and tried to come up with a solution, again, be very pleased to hear. Couple of comments. Garry, Natalie's just...
Oh yeah, one from Barry Peak. Had my MLR inspection this week with Jeff and was found fully compliant. Congratulations, Barry. Looking forward to feeding back to our next Essex branch meeting. Yeah, see, it does happen. You're lucky to get through Jeff. I always think he's silent but deadly. He knows stuff, as they all do. But yeah, no, that's great. Well done, Barry. It's fantastic to report on people that are doing it right instead of always having to report on people that are doing it wrong. No, great. Well done.
And Natalie's just bought her summit ticket. Well done, Natalie. So we're now down to, at the most, 58 early bird tickets left. So yeah, let's see how many more we can book by the end of this afternoon.
Yeah, no, it's doing really, really well. Well done, Natalia. That's fantastic. Look forward to virtually meeting you in, how many weeks is it now? About 3 weeks away, isn't it? I think something like that. It's going to be here. And then as soon as that's over, it's going to be Christmas. I mean, this year is just whizzing through. It's such a difficult one. And so brilliant, fantastic. Let's have a look. What else? We've got somebody else on here. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, just bought the ticket. Right. Okay. Well, I'm actually going to have to put my mask back on. I can still talk to you. I'm still going to be with you. But I'm actually going to walk next door because I've got to go and try and find everybody else and see what's happening. Otherwise, I'm going to outstay my welcome here, which is something I'm quite used to doing. Outstay my welcome, but never mind. I've got to remember where I'm going. So
I tell you one thing, our webinars are never boring, are they? There's always something going on.
Here we go. And look, if I switch around, here we are. Now we can see. Now you can see who we've got here. Agatha, who most of you know. June, who doubtless you all know. Somebody we've got new. This is Corinne. She is our agent that helps us find locations. And this is our guide for the day, whose name has totally skipped mine. You are
Jason.
Jason, that's right.
Lovely to meet you all.
And you're working on this fantastic new property.
Thank you. Yes.
And you're trying to convince us to come here for our conference.
That's correct.
You're
I just
dying
signed
to
the
see our
contract
bookkeeper.
while you were out the room.
Lovely. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what you get for going next door.
Suzanne's just bought her ticket, so we were able to do that, obviously. So that's great. And yeah, I mean, it's great. It's a lovely. It's got some great artwork. Have you seen this? Yeah, really nice. They're actually sort of ballet dancers, which is fantastic. This is a hotel which is next door to the new complex, and in fact, if they do convince us to come here, then there's some rooms in the actual complex, and some just a few steps away next door. We've got Amy Copeland here as well somewhere, unless she's already. She's just disappeared. We had a meeting the other day, and at about 3:05, she suddenly realised she had to pick up the children from school, and she was actually about 30 minutes away. So she got into a lot of trouble, but they did at least go into the after-school club. How are we doing, Jackie? Anything from Russia yet?
No, nothing that I can see as yet. So it may be that we'll have to come back and put something up on the website, or even come back to you next week with that at some stage.
We'll do that. Yeah, I think we're sort of out of questions at the moment. I think everybody's probably buzzed off to see what Russia is up to. So, okay, folks.
And we're down to 49.
Sorry?
We're down to 49 early bird tickets, apparently.
Yeah, I think that's probably an old figure. But anyway, okay. So everybody, don't forget to book your tickets. And you know, this is our sign of the times, as it were. Oh, I find them quite heaty, and particularly wearing glasses. Half the time I can't see anything through because I'm spooked up. But anyway, so thank you for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you next Friday when we thank Furlough once again. Meanwhile, if Jackie said if something really special crops up, we'll try and run a special program, and as always, just to keep you in the loop. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Thanks, Jackie, for your help. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Bye.